In this problem, we're told a wet bar of slope slides freely down a ramp 9 meters long, inclined at 8 degrees. How long does it take to reach the bottom? Assume mu sub k is equal to 0.06. So let's go ahead and draw what's going on here first. So this is going to be our ramp, right? So here's our ramp. And so we know the angle of this ramp, right? It's going to be inclined to 8 degrees. So this is going to be 8 degrees. And so this right here is going to be our bar slope. And so we know the ramp is going to be 9 meters long. So this distance right here is going to be 9 meters. And so they also tell us, let's write down our given. So given, we know mu sub k is going to be equal to 0.06. And so what we're trying to find here is how long it takes. So I'm going to say t equals question mark because that's what we're trying to find. So now let's go ahead and label the different forces acting on our bar slope. So straight down, we have the force of gravity, right? Our weight force, right? Which is mg. So we have this weight force going down. And then what other forces do we have? We have the normal force, right? And so any object touching something, right, is going to have a normal force acting against it, which is perpendicular, right? So it's not up, it's not straight up. It's going to be perpendicular to the surface. So really the normal force is going to be up like this. Right, so keep in mind it's at this angle like this, f sub n. And so I forgot to mention, but whenever you do these problems, you want to treat this axis right here, so like this incline, as your x-axis, right? So imagine an x and y. This incline is going to be your x-axis, and then perpendicular to that is your y-axis. And so you'll see why later on. It just makes it much easier to solve. And so what other forces do we have? So we have the force of friction, right? So imagine a force of friction. It makes it harder for the thing to move, right? So we have this force of friction pushing against, or like going in the opposite direction, so it can't move as easily. So I'm going to call this F sub F, or F sub F, our force of friction. And so now what we want to do is go ahead and label, so notice how the weight force is not aligned with any of our axes, right? So this is our Y, this is our X. So what we want to do is find the different components of this so it's aligned with our axis. And so the way you can imagine this, if we draw this line to be aligned with our normal force, right? So at this angle, and then this line right here is going to be at the same angle as this. So like it's curved like this. So imagine this line right here is parallel to this one, our slope. And this line is parallel to the line perpendicular to that. And so this line right here is mg. We can just call this mg. And so what you need to know is that this angle that it creates, theta, is the same angle as this. It's 8 degrees. So you just got to keep that in mind. And so what we want to do is find this side right here and this side. And so I think it's easiest to see when I draw another triangle. So imagine this is our triangle. This angle right here is this angle, 8 degrees. And mg is our hypotenuse. So this is mg. And so what we're trying to do is find this side, which is this side of this triangle, and then this side, which is this side of it. And so the way we do that is by using trig. And so we know the sine of an angle, right? So the sine of our angle is equal to the opposite side, which is this side. I'm going to call it y in this case, over... so it's opposite over hypotenuse, so over mg. So if we multiply both sides by mg, you should notice that this cancels. And so y is going to be equal to mg times the sine of 8. So keep in mind that what we solved for was this side right here, right? So it's going to be this side. So it's mg times the sine of 8 degrees. And so now we want to find this one. And so we use cosine for this one. So cosine of an angle is equal to the adjacent side, I'm going to call it x, over the hypotenuse. So it's going to be x over mg. So it's going to be equal to mg times the cosine of 8. So that's going to be this side right here, right? So that's this mg times the cosine of 8 degrees. So now we have it all aligned on our y-axis, right? X and y. So the way you want to do it is, I'm going to redraw, but draw a new free body diagram and label them in the direction that they're actually going. So keep in mind we have the normal force, which points straight up. So keep in mind this is the x and y, right? So the ones in the y direction are going to be straight up on this one. I'm just redrawing it though. So f sub n goes straight up, right? Because that's the direction of our y-axis. Going down, what force do we have? We have mg times the cosine of 8, right? So this going down, right? So this force is going down, and then this one's going up. So mg times the cosine of 8. And then now we want to do the x direction. So the ones going in each of these ways. We have the force of friction going up this way, right? So f sub f. And then in this direction, we have mg times the sine of 8, right? Because remember, this is our x component, it's aligned with this one. So in this direction, mg times the sine of 8. So now we've got our free body diagrams. What we're going to want to do is what we want to do is find the sum of the forces in each direction. So the sum of the forces in the x direction, sum of the forces in the y direction. That's your next step. So what you want to do is realize what these equal. So in the x direction, it's going to be equal to m times a, because there's going to be an acceleration. We're going to speed up as we go down, right? And then in the y direction, it's going to be equal to 0. And the reason that is because notice how we're not moving at all in the y direction. So there's no acceleration in the y direction, right? Because we only move along our x-axis, so no acceleration in the y direction. So now what we want to do is set these equal to the sum of the forces in each direction. So let's start with the x. In the x, what do we have? We have, so if it's going to the right, it's positive. If it's going to the left, it's negative. So we have mg times the sine of 8, right? It's going to the right, so it's positive. We leave it positive. And then the force of friction is going to the left, so it's negative. Now let's do the y direction. So f sub n is going up, so it's positive. Down is negative, so f sub n. And then mg times the cosine of 8 is going down, so it's negative. All right, nice. We did that. And now what we want to do is go ahead and solve a formula. So the formula is the force of friction is equal to mu sub k times f sub n. And this is the formula we're solving. And so what you should notice here is that we can solve for f sub n using this formula, right? And then the force of friction is going to be this formula. So notice if we add mg to this side, we get what f sub n is, right? F sub n is going to be equal to the positive version of this, mg times the cosine of 8. So we plug that in our formula, mg times the cosine of 8. I'm going to plug in mu sub k because we know what it is. It's 0.06, right? So I'm just plugging that in. And then what's the force of friction? So if I go ahead and add this to the other side, right? We move it to the other side, this side, right? So the force of friction plus ma is equal to mg minus, or mg, right? And then it's mg times the sine of 8. And then what we want to do is get the force of friction by itself, so we can plug it in. So we minus ma from both sides. So essentially, the force of friction is equal to mg times the sine of 8 minus ma. So if we plug that in, mg times the sine of 8, let me make it bigger actually, 1 second. Mg times the sine of 8 minus ma. And so what we want to do here is solve for the acceleration. And then once we have the acceleration, we're just going to treat it like kinematics, and we can actually solve for the time. So we want to get a by itself. What you should notice here, though, is that the m's will all cancel. So m. So g times the sine of 8 minus a is equal to 0.06 times the cosine, or times g times the cosine of 8. And so we're trying to get a right here by itself. So minus a, and then we're minusing this to the other side. 0.06 g times the cosine of 8 minus g times the sine of 8, right? We're just minusing it to the other side. And then to get rid of this minus, we're just going to minus both sides, right? So a is going to be equal to the minus version of this. So minus 0.06 times g times the cosine of 8. And then this minus is going to make this a plus. So plus g times the sine of 8. So this right here is going to be our formula. And so now we can just go ahead and solve, right? So notice how g is this the force of gravity. So we can just plug in 9.8, which is the force, or which is gravity, right? So just go ahead and plug it in. So it's going to be minus 0.06 times g, which is 9.8, times the cosine of our angle, which is 8 degrees, plus 9.8 times the sine of our angle, which is 8 degrees. And so if you go ahead and do this, you're going to get 0.7816 and so on. I'm going to round to just hundredths place here, so 0.78. And then keep in mind the units, it's meters per second squared. So that's our acceleration. But that's not what they're asking us for. They're asking how long does it take to reach the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and erase everything we have on screen here. So if you want to write it down, go ahead and write it down. But we don't really need any of this stuff except for the acceleration. So write that down if you need it, but I'm going to erase it. So we know acceleration is 0.78 meters per second squared. What are they asking us for? They're asking us for the time. So I'm actually going to write given right here. So given. So we're given the acceleration, right? We just solved for that. We're trying to solve for time, right? what are we trying to, so we're trying to find how long it takes to reach the bottom. So what do we know? We know v sub 0 is going to be equal to, it starts at rest, right? So it's going to be 0 meters per second squared. And so we also know, if I redraw the ramp, right? Here's our ramp. And remember how I said to treat this as the x-axis, this is the y-axis? So in the y-axis, we're moving 9 meters, right? So our x-axis moved 9 meters. So our change in x is going to be 9 meters. And so now with these variables, what we can do is just go ahead and solve for time. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to use one of the kinematic equations, which is delta x equals v sub 0 times t plus 1/2 at squared. Hopefully by now you're pretty good at kinematics. And so all we have to do is just plug in our variables. And so I wrote meters per second squared here. It's just meters per second, my bad. So if we plug in 9 to this, 9 equals v sub 0, which is 0 times t, plus 1/2 times a, which we know is 0.78, times t squared. So 9 equals 0 times t is just 0, 0 plus anything, just get rid of it. So it's going to be 1/2 times 0.78 times t squared. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of this 1/2. So 2 times 9 is 18, which equals 0.78 times t squared. So if you go ahead and do this, we're going to divide both sides by 0.78. So t squared equals 18 divided by 0.78. And then if we want to just get t, we just square root both sides. So square root of 18 divided by 0.78. And so let me go ahead and plug that in my calculator. So square root of 18 divided by 0.78. You're going to get about 4.8. So t is going to be equal to 4.8. And notice the units, our time unit was seconds. So it's going to be t equals 4.8 seconds. So this right here is going to be your answer. So how long does it take to reach the bottom? 4.8 seconds. And so yeah, hopefully you found this useful.